Well, we'll see how players do get ready here for game number 2, as Bryant Cook did win the first game with his Storm deck. But while we do wait, we will talk about regionals, which is approaching very quickly here. Locations have been announced for February 7th.
Yep, it is Pro Tour weekend, so if you're not participating in the event, make sure to head over. Again, the dates and the venues have been announced. You can head over to starcitygames.com/regionals for more information. Also, keep in mind that the first 200 people to sign up for each regionals will receive a free playmat that you see in front of you.
All the squirrels are together. We've got Squirrel Confidant.
Yep.
Acorn Mystic.
Yep.
Force of Squirrel.
Yep.
Squirrel Storm.
And keep in mind, this is free to the first 200 players who sign up.
February 7th, starcitygames.com/regionals for more information. Call that playmat Squirrel Deathblade.
Yeah, Squirrel Blade.
That's what yeah, Squirrel Blade. Thank you, Squirrel Blade. That's what we've deemed that one. Perhaps we'll have more squirrels coming here over the course of this year. We'll see. Everything is in the works at the home base in Roanoke, Virginia.
Yeah, we get little bits and pieces here, but we actually aren't working with that much advanced information.
Yeah. No, I'm not entirely sure what's coming. Do you think we should be working with that information, maybe?
Be nice.
It's tough to say, but again,
it's not my call to make. You know, I just show up to the shows, put a couple of people on camera, I talk about what's happening. The rest of it is kind of lost on me. So
I think that's negotiations for 2016.
More information?
Maybe.
I might negotiate for less.
You take a different approach to negotiations. I haven't seen that one before. Actually, want to do less, want to know less.
I want to know less. I want to be surprised more often.
Very nice. So it sounds like from the Michael Scott school.
Yeah, just I like surprises.
Well, we'll see if Elves can tie things up here against Storm. But this is a very, very bad pairing. Though, I have seen Elves players get the job done before. It's hard, but they can do it.
Well, post-board, you have a deck that can still win very quickly with some discard backed up. That's not a horrible plan. Game 1 is the one where, you know, things have to break really oddly for you to have a shot to win. But post-board, I think Elves has a puncher's chance.
Both players taking a look at their opening 7. You see Guy's Cradle among other options here for Rich, though he doesn't look too thrilled with his opening hand.
He looks stoked.
It's a bad read, Patrick. Bad read. You're a little rusty with your reads, I can tell.
That looks like a confident man.
Well, he's going to keep, so he's confident enough. He's going to sacrifice the Misty Rainforest. Likely to search for Bayou. So he'll have black mana. Let's see where he wants to start things off.
From what I could gather from Rich's hand, it looked like a reasonable Elf's hand with no discard.
Sure.
So you can keep it in hope, but more often than not, you're going to get killed.
Well, there's a Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, some Elves, a Cradle, a Crater Hoof. It's a fine hand.
It's definitely just a fine hand, yeah.
It's just when you're playing against Storm, this is, you feel like you might just die in the first 2 turns.
Here's a Duress. Elvish Visionary, a Crater of Behemoth, a Birchlaw Ranger, and 2 copies of Cradle. A fine hand.
If Rich gets to turn 3, you know, this is a real hand.
Yeah. Without question. He could be hoofing along very quickly.
Now, getting to turn 3, no guarantee, but...
Let's see what the draw is. Copy of Verdant Catacombs. He has the ability to deploy a decent amount of stuff this turn. Can play the Birchlaw Ranger, play a Cradle, cast Visionary, potentially play what he draws off of the Visionary.
And keep in mind, next turn, if he plays the Cradle, he can tap the Cradle and then play a second Cradle. That's a lot of mana.
Yeah. So there's the Birchlaw Rangers. There is a Cradle. That'll tap for 2 green. And this is an Elvish Visionary. Cantrip, take a draw. See what he picks up. A copy of Ball Therapy, not bad.
Okay.
Birchlaw Ranger plus an Elf or Deathrite Shaman can help facilitate that. And there is the Cabal Therapy. Now here's the big question is, what do you name?
Yeah, you had to just hit something.
Well, Bryant's hand is kind of a stinker.
Oh yeah, that is not a good hand.
It's Brainstorm, a Duress, a Rite of Flame to go along with it. Looks like a Delta, a Bloodstained Mire, and a Misty Rainforest, so not a great hand at all.
I probably would have named Dark Ritual because Rich has an opportunity to kill next turn, and Dark Ritual is the most likely card that facilitates a kill on Bryant's side next turn. We'll find out momentarily what got named, but I would have named Dark Ritual.
Fair.
It's a coin flip though. You just hope you hit something.
Either way, he didn't hit anything. Yeah, and he did go with Dark Ritual,
yeah.
So you're dead on there.
Now, if Rich's hand was on the slower side, maybe I would have named something like Brainstorm or Ponder, or Infernal Tutor, one of the parts of stabilization. But with Rich having such an explosive hand, I like going after Dark Ritual.
Now, do you like the sacrificing the flashback here to take care of the Brainstorm, leaving Bryant with basically nothing? He's got a Duress and a Rite of Flame.
I think so, because Rich is still set up to kill not next turn now, but the turn after.
Yeah, he's 2 turns away now.
And Brainstorm's a lot of looks. And Brian's really unlikely to kill you with the hand that he has.
Cabal Therapy, the draw step. So the discard is going to work here. Cabal Therapy is such a powerful discard spell. Plenty of Elves to throw away for the flashback. You see, Meyst is deciding if he wants to attack first, go with Therapy first, and if he does Therapy, what card does he want to name?
He can just go after the Rite of Flame he knows about. Yeah. Seems easy. And if Brian rather picked up something significant, well, you can always flash back.
There's an attack for just 1. Deathrite Shaman looks like it's going to be on draining duty. But I think you got to cast a Therapy here.
I think so, too, because, you can use the Catacombs to go get a Dryad Arbor. You have another Cradle in hand. You're so likely to kill next turn that I just want to make it as difficult as possible for Bryant to kill you on his own turn. That Rite of Flame is a spell and it's a mana. So I think I would just get it out of there.
He's going to like to pass the turn back. It looks like the use of his mana on Cook's turn is going to be Deathrite Shaman activation and then sacrifice the Catacombs to get a Dryad Arbor. That'll give him 3 creatures. That means Cradle will tap for 3. 2 Cradles, of course, mean that's 6 mana. So you can see the thought process here for what he's trying to set up.
And the Deathrite Shaman active does represent some disruption if Brian needs to go off through Pass and Flames, but I think I would have still preferred to cast the Cabal Therapy last turn.
It is risky, as here's a Gataxian Probe. See Cabal Therapy, creator of Behemoth, and the Cradle. Cook will get that information. He'll draw a card from his Gataxian Probe. Now there's a Misty Rainforest. This is a Duress. There goes that Cabal Therapy. But that's not the card that matters at this point. It's the big guy, the Behemoth. So here's a Deathrite activation. Puts you down to 15. I'm going to remove a Brainstorm. Ooh, but does not search up the Dryad Arbor. I think that might be a bit of a mistake. And it looks like, okay, he's going to unwind there.
Yep.
And now there's the Dryad Arbor.
You want this thing to be active for mana and active to attack.
Yeah,
so
that's the big deal. So he almost went too fast, but he corrected himself before going to his turn. Now Meyst will get to draw a card for the turn. Cradles will tap for mana here. I'll have to lose one of those. And it depends on how he sequences, because he did play his Cradle right away.
Yeah.
So that does get a little bit awkward. Exactly how this is going to work. Yeah, and it looks like he may have interest in calling a judge over here.
Yeah, we'll see how it gets ruled.
Yeah, mechanics just simply moving too quick at this point, I think. Because he does, see how much damage. It looks like the kill was rolled up this turn, so. And if that's not the case, and the judge rules that you've played the Cradle, so when you do play a second copy of a legendary permanent, be a land, a planeswalker, what have you, you don't have the opportunity to respond.
And I am very sympathetic towards mistakes made via the legend rule. Okay. Because in the open series that I won, I had a very high profile slip up on camera.
Oh, do tell.
Well, I was working on the World of Warcraft trading card game where the legend rule is different. Okay. You get to keep one. It's actually the rule that Magic has now, but before they changed it. Okay. So I had a Koth in play, and I top deck a Koth, and I'm like, all right, sweet. Make a land, a creature, play my second Koth, make a second land, a creature, hit. And I put the second Koth in play, and AJ Soccer, who I'm playing against, immediately just like picks up my 2 Koths and puts them in the graveyard.
Oh, that's a little awkward, Patrick.
Yeah, it was not great.
Well, awkward. Not your finest moment.
No.
Was that an on-camera match?
It was top 4, yeah.
Oh. Oh, I would have roasted you.
I was a little rusty.
Had I been in the booth, I would have roasted you.
I was a little rusty.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like the ruling does not go in Rich's favor here. He did sequence his spells and his plays incorrectly and faces the worst kind of punishment, which is does not get to win on that turn of the game.
Yep. Although perhaps maybe the worst outcome in a certain sense, but the best outcome in another sense, which is your actions have consequences.
And you'll never make that mistake again.
Most likely, yeah.
Well,
We get to check that. We get to check that one off. That one never happens again.
That's correct. It only takes one. So Cook is playing on house money right now as he's casting a ponder. Take a look at the top 3 cards. And it's time to shuffle away.
I mean, Bryant's still at risk of dying very quickly.
Yeah, nope.
It's still not out of the woods.
Even though that error has taken place, if a cradle comes off the top of the deck, he just dies.
Yep.
So, gonna draw a card from Ponder. There's a Bloodstained Mire. And Cook's draw is just pretty poor here, honestly.
Yeah, both games. It's just a lot of hand disruption. It's got a lot of discard, but not much in the way of a fast kill. I think his hand game too is kind of on the bottom of keepable hands.
Yeah. I mean, he would certainly know best. He's been playing this deck for some time. Wirewood Symbiote the draw. There's a there's a Wooded Foothills. So Rich gonna search up here. Don't forget about those therapies that are still in the graveyard.
Yeah, he's not working with any, or Bryant's at least looked at so many new cards at this point that he would just be guessing, but it is likely to keep Bryant off of a kill.
Wirewood gonna come in. Cradle is tapping for 5. You see Crater Hoof in hand, so trying to figure out a way that he can actually get the job done here. So now it's just beat down Central and hoping to get the job done next turn is a little bit short.
Yep. I mean, he definitely gets the job done next turn.
Yeah.
But there might not be a next turn in 2 respects. One is Bryant might kill him, and the other is Bryant might find Pyroclasm, which doesn't actually kill him, but might as well.
And basically kills him.
Yeah. Bryant will have a lot of time at that point.
So Burning Wish plus another red source would be useful. Cook has a lot of cards in hand and sacrificing a Bloodstained Mire very quickly, so perhaps Burning Wish for Pyroclasm is the line that's available. So Bryant very quickly searching and getting another red source of mana there for Volcanic Island. A lot of cards in the grave right here for Cook too. He will cast a Rite of Flame. Here's another Rite of Flame. And there's a third Rite of Flame. This game is not going to be going on much longer, I have a feeling.
Yep.
Now here's a copy of Infernal Tutor.
That should do her. I'm pretty sure Past in Flames kill here is not going to be too hard to cobble together.
Yeah. Again, for Cook's particular list, he's a Burning Wish based deck. So he can find Ad Nauseam in this situation, which is unlikely, or he can find Burning Wish with this and then search for Past in Flames that way.
Bryant's life total at this point is low enough that Ad Nauseam comes with some significant risks.
Yeah.
And I think he's got enough in the graveyard at this point, the 3 Rite of Flames you've just seen, among other cards, that it's just safer to go down this road.
So now Burning Wish will be cast. You see the spell count there up to 5. And Bryant has plenty of mana.
I've seen these dice before from Bryant.
Yep. And there is Past in Flames. So now it's time to finish him off. That's going to be spell 6. You have to imagine Rite of Flames will be spell 7s, 8, and 9. And then Infernal Tutor can go find Tendrils of Agony or Burning Wish or really whatever he'd like.
Yep.
See the Ponders in the graveyard too. The big question is assuming that Bryant has plenty of black mana to get the job done here.
Yeah, I would imagine that he's floated black in a lot of these iterations because he has so much red mana to work with.
There is the wish. This is a little awkward here as he's still digging through his deck a little bit. And maybe he's made a misstep.
Yeah, unless he, I mean, it gets a little awkward if he doesn't have a bunch of black floating, I suppose.
Yeah, he doesn't have any black mana floating. This has got a little troublesome. Now, it looks like Burning Wish is still going to be the card that he goes for, but
it's really problematic if he doesn't have a kill this turn because he's used all of his Rite of Flames. I mean,
and now he's casting a Ponder. Wow. Someone on the search for maybe a Lion's Eye Diamond. And you can tell he realizes he has perhaps made an error. Oh, 6 red mana floating. Well, he's going to keep. Oop,
okay.
Lion's Eye Diamond. Problem solved.
All right, this is easy now.
Yep. He'll cast this, break the Lion's Eye Diamond for black mana, go get a Tendrils, and finish him off. So a slight misstep, but his Ponder worked him out of it, and he's going to win the game and the match. Bryant Cook going to win this match here over Rich Meyst. 2-0. Storm will take down Elves here in round number 2.
Not a that unexpected of a result there, though. Rich did have the kill there. Game number 2. Little misstep with the legend rule and the cradles and so forth, and Bryant made the most of his stay of execution.
Yeah, perhaps almost a fatal misstep there for Bryant as well. Players still getting their legs in this tournament here during round 2.